Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Now let us read Standing Up for Yourself, which is of CHSE Plus 2 first year and is written by, and Standing Up for Yourself prose is written by Yevgeny Yevtushenko. Now let us read few lines about Yevgeny Yevtushenko. So, Yevgeny Alexandrovich Yevtushenko is a Russian poet, novelist, essayist, dramatist, and a director of films. So, Yevgeny Yevtushenko or Yevgeny Alexandrovich Yevtushenko is he's a Russian poet, a novelist, an essayist, even a dramatist, screenwriter, actor, editor, and a director of films. Now, let us move to the chapter. Unit 1, Warm Up. Have you ever come across a child deserted by parents? How does he or she grow up? Who looks after his or her education? If you have not come across such an urchin in real life, see the harrowing experiences of growing up in the movie Slumdog Millionaire 2008, directed by Danny Boyle and co-directed in India by Loveleen Tandon. It is an adaptation of the novel Q&A 2005 by Indian author and diplomat Vikas Swarup. Read the following unit of the text and note how a Russian child has been brought up in the streets. So, here in this paragraph it is saying about, have you ever come across a situation where a child is deserted means apart by his parents or left somewhere by his parents, as his or her parents were divorced. So how does they grow up? How does he or she grow up? Then who looks after their studies, education? If you have not come across such an urgent and such a sad situation in real life, you can experience the growing up in the movie Slumdog Millionaire, which is directed by Danny Boyle in 2008, and it was co-directed in India by Loveleen Tandon. Movie or this film was adapted from a novel Q&A, which was published in 2005, and the it was published by an Indian author and a diplomat, Vikas Swarup. Now let us read the chapter. In, in 41, I was living alone in an empty flat in a Moscow quite in a quiet Moscow street. So here the writer or the narrator is saying that when he was at the age of 41, he was living alone in an empty flat in a Moscow street, in a quiet Moscow street. His My parents were divorced, and my father was somewhere in Kazakhstan with his new wife and their two children. I seldom received letters from him. So here the author is saying that his parents were divorced, and his father was somewhere in Kazakhstan with his new wife and his two children. I seldom received letters from him. Here, seldom means rarely, rarely or hardly. Hardly or rarely. My mother was at the front. She had given up her work as a geologist to become a singer and was giving concerts for the troops. So here front means a place where two armies fight among themselves in a war. Then there she used to give at the front she used to give uh, uh, singing concerts for the troops. Troops means group of people or group of armies. So she gave up her work as a geologist. Geologist means a person who studies on earth. A person who studies on earth is known as geologist. So she was a geologist and she gave up her work as a geologist so that she could become a singer, and she was also giving concerts for the troops. Troops means group of armies or group of people. Next, my education was left to the street. The street taught me to swear, smoke, spit elegantly through my teeth, and to keep my fists at ready, a habit which I have to this day. So here a sentence is my education was left to the street. My education was left to the street means whatever he learned, he only learned from the street. So the street taught him to swear. Swear means promise. Smoke, spit elegantly through his teeth, and to keep his fist at ready. Whoever at any time, if he attacks him, then his fist were at ready always. This was to keep my fists at ready was a habit which he have these days. Then the street taught me not to be afraid of anything or anyone. This is another habit I have kept. So that street where he was living, that street taught him not to be afraid of anything or anyone. This is the another habit he have kept these days. I realized what mattered in struggle for life was to overcome my fear of those who were stronger. Then once he realized that what matter in the life is to overcome his fear of those who were stronger than him. Then here the unit 1 is completed. Now let's start unit 2, warm up. Do you think the narrator was scared of someone in particular? Read the following unit of text and find out the reasons that made every boy scared of Red. Here in this unit 2, a boy of 16-year-old nicknamed Red came. So now let's read. The ruler of our street was a boy of about 16 who was nicknamed Red. So the ruler of the street or the don of the street was a boy of 16 years old whose nickname was Red. Then Red was big and broad shouldered beyond his years. He was 16 years. Though he was 16 years, but he was too matured type boy. Like he was having big and broad shoulder. According to his age, he was having big and broad shoulders. Then Red walked masterfully up and down our streets, leg wide and with a slightly rolling gait like a seaman on his deck. So Red usually walked masterfully like a dawn. He usually walk like he masterfully means he does not care anyone, or he does not care anyone. Then he walked carelessly on the streets, and he always walked with the widened legs and with a slightly rolling gait. Rolling means side to side movement. Rolling means a side to side movement, and a gait means manner of walking. Manner of walking. Seamen on his deck. Deck means the floor of ship. The floor of a ship is known as deck. So he was walking masterfully without caring anyone in the streets, and with his legs widened up and a slightly rolling gait like a seaman on his deck. Like a slightly rolling gait means like a drunken person. He was walking like that in the street. From under his cap, its peak always at the back of his head, his foreleg tumbled down in a fiery cascade, and out of his round pock-marked face, green eyes like a cat's sparkled with scorn for everything and everyone. Two or three lieutenants in peaked caps back to the front like rats tripped at his heels. So, from under his cap, the peak of the cap usually when people used to wear a cap, the peak are always in the front at the front, but when Red used to wear the cap, the peak of its cap was always at the back of his head. His forelock were tumbled down in a fiery cascade. Was very angry, and out of his round poke marked face means he was having a lot of scars on his face, and green eyes like cat's eyes, which is sparkled with scorn for everything and everyone. His two or three lieutenants means his assistants or a deputy, a deputy. A deputy is known as lieutenant. His two or three lieutenants also wore that cap like Red used to wear a cap, and they tripped at his heels. Tripped at his heels means follow. Tripped at his heels means follow. Red could stop any boy and say impressively the one word money. His lieutenants would turn out the boy's pockets, and if he resisted, they beat him up hard. So, when Red used to see a boy in the street, he used to ask and say impressively the one word money. Give me the money. Then his lieutenants, if the boy denies or if the boy says no, then they beat him up. And in between, the lieutenants of Red, they turn out the boy's pocket and they snatch the money from his pocket. And if the boy denied or said no, then they beat him up hard. Everyone was afraid of Red, so was I. I knew he carried a heavy knuckle duster in his pocket, so everyone was afraid. Everyone was fearing Red. So because if he would beat him up, or if he would create a problem for them, then even so was I. Even the writer or the author was also afraid of Red. He knew that the narrator or the author knew that he carried a metal knuckle duster. Knuckle duster means a metal covering to protect the knuckles for attack or a defense in his pocket. So this is all for today, unit 1 and unit 2. This video is completed with unit 1 and unit 2. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe.